Hey everyone, this is Corey from Aquarium Co-op. It's the 1 week anniversary of setting these ponds up, so this is week number 2, and I said I would take a video each week so we could see the progress here, or the progress even. So we can see, let's see if I can let you see that. There's still guppies alive, even though the water's been pretty cold. You can kind of see them moving around in there. I just rubbed down the front as there was some algae and stuff growing on it. Water's almost turning green, which I like it when it turns green. It actually allows the fry to hide out from the parents and eat. So you can also see here the water sprite we put in last week. It's been dying off. It's nice and brown. There was no fertilizer in there to keep it going. There's still some green. You can see here some new growth coming out, and the duckweed's doing fine. Just put in some water lettuce today, a little bit of red root floater mixed in here, and then I put in some potted glosso in there. Just it had grown too long at the shop and brought it home to let babies hide in it. Today I did dose with the Flourish Comprehensive here, and I'm going to do that at least once a week, maybe twice a week, until the plants really start taking off. And basically I'm using this until I can start feeding real heavy, which I can't yet because there's barely any fish in there. So you can see here, just have the sponge filter still bubbling away on this 75. A little bit of evaporation going on. Hasn't been raining a whole lot. You can see some fish kind of hanging up here in the weeds. Well, looks like some babies might have been born so far. I don't know if you can see it or not, but yeah, right in the corner there, right by the silicone, you can see some babies, and then some more fish coming up. So yeah, it's already working, even though the water's been cold. You can see a lot of kind of algae and stuff growing along this back wall here, which is perfect. That's this fry food right there. So yeah, the 75 is doing what it's supposed to do. Got a green tint to the water. I'm kind of excited to see that. In an aquarium you would dread that, but in the pond I'm looking forward to that, because once you have green water it seems like it's really easy. So here we've got the budget tote, my $8 wonder here, and I dropped in some more water lettuce because I had some. Usually you can get some from someone. If we look over here you can see they're all hiding underneath the water sprite in 75, so that's a good look. I'll have to make sure I clean the algae off this side so it's an easier view next time. But in the budget tote I went ahead and put some Merrywood livebearers in here today. Let's see if we can find some in here. Probably under this giant mass of cover we've put in. Oh, you can see some towards the bottom, sort of towards the glosso plant. This was just some Vallisneria I'm going to let float. Just some more cover there. Nothing, too spectacular going on here yet. Not a lot of bugs or anything. I was hoping by week 2 we might have some bugs that I could show off, but not in this pond. Then we've got the 110 pond over here, and this pond I actually added in the N-class endlers. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh, I thought he put in Variatus. Well, the Variatus are in here as well. They shouldn't cross. Should be big enough with enough cover that both are going to produce fry for me. See a couple of females right down there actually, and we'll see if we can see any males or fry. You can see, you might not be able to see it, but there's fry darting around towards the bottom. Some right up here by the top, but it could be too much of a reflection for you. Usually the Variatus are hanging out on the covered side over here. Yep, so if I stop this sponge filter, probably be able to focus in on them down there. So yep, you can just see them all hanging out back here. There's the endlers are with them as well. Got the water sprite. This water sprite is doing better in here. Could be because it's had a couple of days on the other 75 gallon. This pond is actually, set up 1 or 2 days beforehand, and I threw in some black worms, and so the fish have actually eaten, which has probably kept the water sprite alive. So you can see it's more green instead of the 75 over here, where it's mostly brown. Even though it gets better sun over here, without nutrients, just can't do a whole lot, so it's there's some green underneath there, so it's going to bounce back. I mean, water sprite's a pretty hardy plant here once it rights itself and starts to grow. This is week 2, and you got to think that we're the second week of June, and we're going to go all the way till probably 1st of October or so. So we got a long time to grow these in and make lots of fish. But back to the 110 here. See, I've just got a sponge filter, much more gentle agitation. Doesn't really matter, what intensity you have going, just as long as there's some, the stagnant pond, the budget pond, we just have to be a little more careful of how many fish we end up putting in there. Might have to do a few more water changes, that type of thing. Just like last week, you can see that there's already some, like cottonwood pieces floating around in there, and that's just, it's going to break down, and fish are probably going to eat it, honestly. So yeah, I'm going to show you one more pond that this is a pond I had up and going last year, and I never actually broke it down, and so you can see what happens to a pond that doesn't get broke down, and it becomes a food source. I'm growing mosquitoes. I'm sure my neighbors hate me, but it's great food. And this is just a half whiskey barrel little tote here. And let's see if we can see some of the larvae and stuff. There's a pond lily here. You can kind of see on top some of the leaves. If we can get some to squiggle around, you'll be able to see it. You can see some right there, and this is just all. If you look at the bottom here, you can see leaves have fallen in and lots of stuff like that. And honestly, I could put fish in here and they would thrive as well. But I want to start fresh so that everyone could see how it's done fresh, even in a small container. You can see right here, looks like a dead bug, or I don't know if it's a flying ant or what it is, but some fish would love to eat that. Looks like there's a dead mosquito over here. This is your typical little swamp, your stagnant moving body of water where live bears and other fish would be thriving. You might see killifish down in the roots of this breeding. It's almost like peat in there. It's probably pretty acidic. No water changes have been done. You can kind of see the calcium rings on the side of the pond, and that's just where